Hey everyone! In this update, I'll share more on the next season, additions coming to custom seas, upcoming live events, and then wrap up with some spicy experiment news. So let's get into it. Let's kick off and talk about the question that's on everyone's mind. What's going on with Season 21? And I'll answer that, but first let me explain why. We started this year in a pretty rough place. And through the community direct and recent updates, we've shared that there would be some fundamental changes coming to how we operate Sea of Thieves in the future. Our main focus as a team is returning to what makes Sea of Thieves so special, and that's the magic of our shared world sandbox. How it brings players together in unpredictable ways and sparks those incredible stories that stick with you long after you finish your session.
All right, real quick here. Give me 1 second. I got to move my camera because it looks like I'm staring at Drew's crotch. All right, there we go.
While new content will be a key part of how we expand the experience in the future, that's not where we're focusing right now. The sandbox is full to the brim with experiences already, but some have lost their spark over the years. And we want to return and breathe some life back into them, alongside our commitment to improving game health across the wider experience. But to truly deliver on our goal of reigniting the sandbox and bringing it back to its best, we have to start nailing our quality bar and giving features the time they need in development to take on board player feedback along the way, and to reach quality to ensure they stick the landing.
Correct. Don't rush it.
In order to do that, we need to change the approach we've been taking for how we deliver features into the experience. Seasons will continue to refresh every 3 months with a new pass to progress and new rewards to earn, but they will no longer be delivered back along the way, and to reach quality to ensure they stick the landing. Now, in order to do that, we need to change the approach we've been taking for how we deliver features into the experience. Seasons will continue to refresh every 3 months with a new pass to progress and new rewards to earn, but they will no longer be delivered with a headline feature set as we've done before. The updates we deliver moving forwards through this next year will arrive when they meet the goals we've set out, had sufficient time in players' hands, and they're hitting our quality bar. We want to be confident and proud when we get these features into your hands. Now, that is gonna feel a bit...
I can agree with that. We'll rewind it a little bit since he started talking more. I can agree with that. You know, fix the game. Get the game working again. Get it back to how, I mean, I know they're not gonna be able to get it back to how it used to be, but going back in that direction is a good thing. You know what I mean? Like how many times have we said time and time again, pause the updates and fix the game. Pause the updates, fix the game. And now they're doing that. So I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it.
Hands. Now, that is gonna feel a bit unpredictable compared to how we've worked in the past. But across areas like reigniting the sandbox, custom seas, and game health, we're confident that doubling down and focusing on the quality of our work is going to lead to a stronger Sea of Thieves experience in the long run. So, to answer the question, yes, there will be a Season 21 in September, but there'll be no headline feature set arriving with it
because I know that those are tattooed, Pirate Pile,
as we've done in previous seasons. I know that no doubt that just leads to questions on what's coming, but we'll share more on how our roadmap begins to shape up across the various areas of the experience in future updates. One heavily anticipated quality of life feature that I can confirm is coming though, is something some of you might have seen announced on our channels recently: outfit saving. The clothing and vanity chests will be brought together and you'll be able to save various combinations as presets, allowing you to quickly switch between your favourites. The team are now working on it, and we're aiming for a release later this year, but we'll keep you updated along the way to reveal more about how it works. Right, over to custom seas. The team have been working with your feedback and are preparing the first waves of toolset and quality of life improvements arriving across the next game updates. There's really too much to list here, but the most commonly requested additions like customized ship supplies, invincibility and invisibility, and deeper control around player death and reviving are all making their way through testing. A particularly cool addition is full control over the damage of individual weapons.
Now, he named off some of the things that have been asked for, but the biggest thing that Custom Seas needs, is a server list. They need a server list, bro. Because right now, Custom Seas is just for content creators. You know what I mean? Joe Schmo over here, that no one knows who the fuck he is, has the greatest idea for a Custom Seas, and he can't get it off the ground because there's no one knows him. No one knows about it or anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they gotta get a server list going. That should be, that should be a priority. That should definitely be a priority, is getting a server list going.
And their attacks, giving creators the ability to configure much more bespoke experiences. During development, the team also tinkered with the ability to set damage values into the negative, allowing weapons to heal, and it just works. So we're leaving it in for you to play with.
That's pretty cool.
Lots of these improvements are now making their way through Insiders, so jump in and give us your feedback. In addition to toolset improvements, August's game update brings the Seas of Sailor's Grave as a legendary location.
That's pretty cool that some weapons, if you set them at a negative value, will heal. That you can set that for all the sword spammers. You know what I mean?
Unlocking a new space to create some epic battles. With this first new map now on its way, we're going to be handing the decision on what our next legendary location will be over to you. Look out on our social channels in the next few weeks, where we'll open up voting for which legendary location you'd like to see us bring to Custom Seas next. We've been dying to put more choices into your hands in the form of community votes, so we're excited to kick off our first one here. On the live event side, we're now well into the swing of things with our live calendar, providing a range of events that cater to different playstyles and time commitments. With the smaller scale events like the weekly fight nights and Emissaries of Fortune, up to our larger events like the Bilge Rats Weekender and Community Weekend. The notable omission there is Last Ship Standing. After cutting the event short back in July, the team are taking the time needed to ensure this experience is stable ahead of its next return. We're not sticking a date on this one until it's ready, but stay tuned for more updates. One event I do want to call out that's arriving later in August is a special event called Big Ship Little Ship, and yes, that's its real name. Big Ship Little Ship is going to temporarily switch how we matchmake ships onto servers, with sloops being brought onto servers only with other sloops, while brigs and galleons are matched together.
Here's my problem with that. Here's my problem with Big Ship, Little Ship. If you're a solo, you're fucking done. You're done. There's nothing more scarier out there than a duo sloop, bro.
The goal here is for us to learn how a change like this alters the behaviours of different sized crews. For example, do sloops engage with more higher risk experiences when the threat of a larger ship isn't present? Do larger ship servers experience more crew encounters? Now, there's also some potential downsides we might see here, whether that's with filling those larger ship servers or the balance of experienced duo crews in the sloop servers. I want to be really clear though, we don't intend for Big Ship Little Ship to be a regular part of our calendar. For now, it's a single temporary event that runs over a weekend. It's also not an experiment like the one we're running in Season 20. There is no end scenario here where we would ever consider making a change like this permanent. We're going into this with our eyes open, and for us, this is really a learning exercise for us to test a few hypotheses that we could only really do in the live environment.
This is what so what he just said right there. Yo, Heathen, thank you for the follow. Tony, I'm gonna be switching over to Red Dead here shortly. So, oh, dude, Tony, Drew's the best, bro. He's the best. So, what I was gonna say is what I think this is I think this test for their hypotheses. I think this is to increase the amount of ships per server. So I think they're putting this has nothing to do with sloops. Nothing to do with sloops. I think this is focused around the big ships. And this is just a way for them to exclude the sloops and just have the, bigger ship crews and have 6 of them on a server and see how they perform when they're in the live server, you know what I mean, over the weekend. I think that's number one. I think that's one of their hypotheses. Number two, I think this is going to be something to where it's going to be a future game mode where you can choose as a crew to either, part of the high seas adventure to either hop into a server that's got all ship sizes, or you can choose to hop into a server that has only your ship size. So I think that's something that's probably what they're testing with that.
So let's go on the journey later this month, and we'll share what we've learned coming out the other side.
If it's just for a weekend,
now,
I'm okay with that.
onto the real experiments. Costume change!
What the hell? What the hell was that? That would split the community? It depends. It depends on how you look at it, Rob. Like, there are sloops out there that want nothing to do with bigger ships. You know what I mean? Like, there's crews out there that want absolutely nothing to do with bigger ships. And so this would be something for them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think it might be a good thing. I think it definitely might be a good thing. But if it is going this route, right? If it is going this route, and it is what I think it is, there's got to be buffs made to the solo sloop experience. Like if this becomes something, more prominent in the future, if it has anything to do with dividing the community, it's a big no. I don't think it's dividing the community. I don't think it's dividing the community at all. I think hear me out on this. Hear me out on this. If you're a galleon crew, or if you primarily play on a galleon, or you primarily play on a brig, and you're mad that sloops might be moved to another server, then you're a bitch. You're a bitch because you cannot take on, because you're looking for the little guy to pick on. You know what I'm saying? Like you're looking for that easy win versus going up against ships your own size, or you know what I'm saying? Like that's just my take on it. Like if you run on a bigger crew the majority of the time, and you're mad that sloops might have the option to choose to go to their own server, bro, you are a sad individual for wanting to shit on a smaller ship. You know what I mean? Like take that mentality that you have for the bigger ships. I mean, for the smaller ships, and use it against ships your own size or a ship bigger than you. You know what I mean? Like wanting to shit on that solo guy makes you a piece of shit. But that's just my take on it. That's my take on it. I don't think it would split the community at all. And in fact, I think it would increase the amount of epic battles and shit like that. Imagine if you're on a brig and you're on a server with 5 other ships, that are galleons and other brigs. Can you imagine the battles on that? You know what I mean? Instead of just killing one solo guy 2 times and then his ship sinks because he can't keep up because he's outnumbered 3 or 4 to 1. You know what I'm saying? Like that's definitely going to bring some possibilities for some good fights. I constantly see galleys load up and wipe whole servers of Xbox servers, and that's their content for 6+ hours. Yeah. and they wipe out these small little ships, man. These small little ships. So if they're now on a server that is with other galleons or brigs, bruh, you know what I mean? Yeah, full galleon servers do sound fun as hell, man. It goes both ways. How many times do you get a sloop and get excited to fight again? Oh yeah. That's the thing though, Thick, is that you have that option, right? So if what I think this is that in the future, I don't think they're splitting the community or splitting the ships permanently. I think there's going to be an option right now for this weekend. That weekend test, it's going to be split. But I think in the future you will have the option to choose whether to go against, only ships your size or go into the high seas is what I think it's going to be. At that moment, LD was making a point. Oh, remember, it's not even a feature they want to add permanently. They're just seeing how it affects interactions. Yeah. And I think it's going to have a positive effect. Now I think it will be a good thing for galleons versus brigs. I think this is a bad thing for sloops versus sloops because, like I said, a duo sloop is going to destroy a solo sloop 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, a duo sloop is going to destroy a solo sloop. It's just, duo sloops are they're tough to beat. So, there needs to be some sort of buff for the solo slooper if this becomes a permanent thing later in the future. I know he's saying, that they're not making it a permanent thing like how the weekend's going to be, but like I said, your mic has been muted this whole time. No, it's not. I'm looking right at the little bar moving, so I know it's not moved. But like I said, they need to make some adjustments for the solo sloop if this is going to be an option later. Shut up, Daggy. Number one, I think that if you load in as a solo, now keep in mind that these perks change if someone joins your crew. So, but if you load in as a solo, I think you should be able to pull up your ladders. I think you should have less wheel damage, all that type of stuff. I think the blunderbuss for a solo slooper should do 100% damage instead of 90. But like I said, if someone joins your crew, those settings get reverted to a duo crew. But yeah, Tyrannosaurus Rex can run faster than I can masturbate. No, it's ejaculate. Oh, hold on 1 second. One second, guys. Did I get the fence built? The majority of it I got built. I go back Monday morning to finish it up. It got, dude, it was so hot, Tony. It was so hot that Vicky's dad was like, wait, Britty Bear is into the chat. What are you talking about, Pirate Pile? Vicky's dad was like, hey, you need to stop working. He was like, come back early in the morning. He was like, and I told him, I was like, well, Monday's my next available day to come back. And so he said, well, come back Monday. So there's just a little portion of the fence that's left. We had to go get a new post because the post that he had gotten was a 6-foot post, right? And so, which is what he wanted it. He wanted it 6 feet out of the ground. But once we got the hole dug and he put it in the ground, it was only 4 feet sticking out the ground. So we had to go back and get another post. We had to get an 8-foot post. But yeah, and then we got to install a door on the back door. that's got a doggy door for our dogs. And we'll do that on Monday. All right, here we go.
So, Season 20 launched with our first game experiment, where we removed the ability to dive to a range of raid voyages,
Which was a good
with
thing.
the goal of reigniting interest in our world events, with the best rewards on offer for crews who contest it. Following its launch in June, we've surveyed players, listened to your feedback, and investigated what the data tells us on how this experiment has changed the flow of servers. We knew that a change like this, where we remove something that's been embedded into the game, was never going to be a slam dunk. There's plenty of players who voiced their feedback on how they've missed the ability to dive to world events on demand this season. However, the data shows we've had more contested world events as a result.
Yeah.
And that's backed up with a healthy amount of feedback on how the seas have felt more alive since making this change. So, we feel we've seen enough. We're happy to share that our Raid Voyage experiment is going to be made permanent in September's game update.
Thank
Diving
God.
to those world events will now be permanently removed, and all raid-specific company treasures will be redistributed into the vaults of emergent world events. The chances of the Chest of Fortune appearing in all world events will also be staying for future seasons, but with the addition of a guaranteed drop in the Fort of Fortune, Fleet of Fortune, and Burning Blade. We can see that the
Burning Blade. What? Okay, so I'm okay with the Chest of Fortune being a chance of being in all world events. That's going to inspire people to go do those world events. Chest of Fortune changes skews that data, in my opinion, but it's a good change. Yeah, I'm okay with that being there because 300 chests is a lot. It's a lot. It is a lot. That him saying that the Chest of Fortune is going to be a guarantee in the Burning Blade is kind of, I know they're doing that to get people to do the Burning Blade, but we need to find out if the chest appears on the Burning Blade before it's sunk. Because if it appears on there before it's sunk, then you're just going to have people board it like they did back before. Grab the Chest of Fortune and jump off with it, and then you got a Burning Blade that's selling around with no Chest of Fortune. So it needs to spawn after it sinks. If it doesn't appear after it's rendered down, that's another mark they missed. Yeah, they'll just hop and take the Burning Blade. And that needs to change. That definitely needs to change.
Introduction of diving has fundamentally changed how crews play during their session. And when we talk about reigniting the sandbox and bringing it back to its best, there's going to be scenarios like this where we have to accept we've taken a wrong turn. And it's time to make a big change to get us back on the right path. So with that, let's talk about our next experiment that we're going to run in Season 21. And if you thought the last one was spicy, this one is going to be polarizing. I'm just going to say it, we're turning off diving. I'll just give that a second to settle in. When Season 21 arrives in September, all voyages, tall tales, and the remaining raids will no longer have the option to dive to.
Ooh, that's gonna suck. That's gonna suck for Reaper 5s when hunting then, because now we can't dive. We can't dive as a Reaper 5 to hunt. You know what I mean? I don't know what he's saying, but I disagree with everything LD agrees with. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, we're not going to be able to dive for ships. You can still use a restore point for Tall Tales to swap servers. Back to Tall Tale portal hops. Yeah, but if you portal hop using a Tall Tale, you get you know your ship bugs out. There's a whole bunch of different things that happens. You know what I mean? What up, Sarah? There's a bunch of different things that happens when you use a portal to hop.
Requiring crews to.
My opinion is if you're gonna go this route with turning off diving, right? If you're gonna go as far as turning off diving, you need to go as far as portal hopping as well. You need to turn off. You need to make it to where you lose your emissary flag if you portal hop. In my opinion, you know what I mean. What do y'all think? If you're gonna go that far with it, then now that is a spicy take. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I agree. That's a great idea, actually. Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think you're old. Okay, that's not one of the things, Meza. But yes, if you're gonna turn off diving completely, then you need to also make it to where if you try to cheat it and skirt around it and portal hop to a tall tale to go to a different server, then not remove tall tale hopping, but make it to where you lose your emissary value if you go through a tall tale portal.
Once again sets
go back to how we did back in the day. You know what I mean? Where we, you load it now. Okay, now if I'm gonna here, let's go out on the limb and talk about this a little bit more, because now another idea just popped into my head. So we're gonna have a lot of Reaper 5s upset out there, a lot of Reaper 5s upset. If we're gonna have to go back to our roots, to where we loaded in and we went to the table to look to see how many ships were on the table, how many emissaries were on the table. If we're going to go this route to removing diving, then we need to take it a step further, and we need to make sure that all the tables, because you can vote up any emissary when doing hourglass, right? So there needs to be a distinction on the table, and to me it's a pretty easy distinction. Every table has two sides of a table to vote down hourglass. So if you're looking at the table and you go into a server and someone is voted up as an Athena or a guild or a merchant alliance, a Reaper, whatever they're voted up as, the right side of the table should be emissaries. The little ships should be emissaries that are voted in just strictly for emissary value, and the left side of the table should be ships that have voted on the hourglass. Make that distinction right there, so when the Reaper 5 hunters are loading up and going in, they go to the table and they look and they know that hey, that Athena is doing hourglass and there's no other Athenas doing voyages on the server. I'm bouncing. I'm going to the next server. And then they load up another server and they come in and then they see two Athenas on the table, but it's on the right side of the table. And then they know, hey, those two Athenas are actually doing voyages and I'm going to go hunt and look for them. You know what I mean? That's something that they really need to do. It really need to make a distinction if they're going to keep hourglass in high seas. I'm pretty sure the first time I ever talked to you was when Beard showed the server hop URL on stream, and I DM'd to let you know. Yeah. I'll fire up the server hopping website. Conan, thank you for the 5 freaking gifted subs, dude. That 5 tier 2 gifted subs, brother. I appreciate you very much, homie. Appreciate you very, very, very much. So yeah, I'm gonna press for this. I'm literally gonna press for this to see if they can separate those two. They gotta be able to separate those two. That's a Kevman cartwheel, but it doesn't show on this screen. Here, we'll get it out the way real quick.
Want to see me do
because those are tier 2s. Those are tier 2s, Pirate Pile.
Damn it!
I appreciate the 5 tier 2s, man. Yep.
Damn it!
Appreciate it. Can't they simply set aside X amount of servers that only take hourglass boats when you click? Who knows, you kill me. The whole thing that Shelly stated about hourglass and remaining on high seas is they wanted people to be able to, it had to do with their stories. I guess something like that, but I like that. Salt Drew is so all his anal beads fall out whenever. All his anal beads. Can we see Bill get hit in his nuts for fun? Sure, why the fuck not? There we go. Bill loves it. Bill loves it. They'll need more servers to separate out Hourglass. They need to make a business case to Microsoft. We know that they can do it. We know they can do it. Last Ship Standing proves that they can do it. But I do, yes. You know, Last Ship Standing can have 4 to 6 ships on it versus, you know, kicking up Hourglass and yeah. So yeah, maybe they need more servers, or maybe not, because there's not a whole lot of people that do Hourglass except for whenever there's double reputation. But yeah, they can do it for sure, and I hope they do. But if they don't do it and they leave Hourglass in high seas, now okay. So here's another thing that just popped into my head. So with removing diving, if you're a hunter and you're looking for ships to take down that are you know, doing treasure and stuff like that, if you load up into a server, you're gonna, you know, number one, you're taking up a spot, so you're spot number 1. There can be up to 2 Hourglass battles on a server, 3 if it's a brand new server, but that means you wouldn't be able to log in. But if I log in, there can be up to 2 Hourglass battles on a server. That's 4 ships. Plus me is 5. So that means there's only 1 crew out there that could potentially be doing something. And if I'm just server hopping, looking for shit, that means that 1 crew is being denied of any player interactions at all. So yeah, Hourglass does need to be removed from high seas. It really does. Couldn't they just have 2 to 3 Hourglass fights in those? They could. Yeah, that's a good point. Bam. There's another idea, KMK. Use the current Last Ship Standing servers for Hourglass to have 3 battles going on in different areas of the map. Keep the boundaries going. Keep the boundaries going at all times so that they can't sell out. And all they can do, like if you win an Hourglass fight, right? If we go that route and you win an Hourglass fight, you still got the boundaries around you, so you can't sell out to go interfere with another fight. But you're given the option, you know, an option pops up if you're the winner saying, do you want to dive to a new Hourglass fight, or do you want to take the portal that takes you back to high seas? And obviously, if you lose, you know, you get the option of going back to the main menu or choosing to dive again. But I think that's something that can be done as well, for sure. Hot tech, change Reaper flag so it immediately shows you all emissaries, not just at level. Oh, no, hell no. Hell no. I think a Reaper 5 flag should be required 100%.
Sail for their destination across the waves.
Oh, let's rewind
and
a little bit.
crucially, will no longer have the option to dive to, requiring crews to once again set sail for their destination across the waves, and crucially remain on their server. Experiences that do require server migration, like Hourglass, Last Ship Standing, and Tall Tales set in the Sea of the Damned, will still remain accessible during this experiment. Now, there are going to be some treasure items, commendations, and achievements on their server. Experiences that do require server migration, like Hourglass, Last Ship Standing, and Tall Tales set in the Sea of the Damned, will still remain accessible during this experiment.
Okay.
Now, there are going to be some treasure items, commendations, and achievements that become temporarily unavailable during this time. But don't feel like you have to rush to complete them. Once the experiment is over, these will return. So again, we're heading into this next experiment with an open mind. We're going to be surveying players for their thoughts, monitoring the change this brings to the sandbox, and of course, listening to your feedback, all to help guide whether this should become another permanent change to the sandbox. I know you'll all have lots of thoughts on this, so I'll leave you to discuss it. Catch you all next time.
W's all around, bro. W's all around.